Hey everybody, it's Tripl-L coming in to talk about Osamake. I forget the name of the thing, but I know it's the thing about the childhood friend won't lose romcom. Oh yeah, Osamake. I got it. Anyway, this is my 3 episode review. I think I'm gonna keep watching it. If you saw the thumbnail, I ship it. I ship the guy and Shiro. I'm into it. I don't care whatever happens in episode 3, like whatever, man. I'm in. I'm 100% in. Come on, they're cool. They're cool. But yeah, no. I do enjoy it. I think for this kind of style, it's been one of the better ones. So for those that don't know, you need to understand this part for me, because this is gonna bias me a lot. I really do not like the revenge type shows, like Masamune's Revenge. Oh my god. Oresuki, oh my god, man, like I am infuriated. My heart is too exposed. It's just because I don't like dealing with people that think like this in real life, and I've dealt with people that think like this in real life. And every time I watch this anime, or anime like this, I'm just thinking, this is only making those maladjusted people who think they're nice guys, visit nice guy subreddit. It's only empowering them, because I know what kind of people they are, and it's just like I don't like you. I don't like you. This is one of those anime where you really hope that the person watching it doesn't have, or wait, sorry, does have a good grip on reality and is able to say that's something that happens in anime, not necessarily something that happens in real life. But that's the big thing. Usually for these shows, I would drop them like after the first episode if they really infuriate me, if it's like really immature. But the special thing about Osamake at the beginning was that it looked like there was some manipulation going on. And it looked like there was some more stuff happening. And as you get to episode 3, you find out like, oh shit, yeah, you know, like there actually was legitimately manipulation going on. And the other thing for Osamake that puts things in its favor is that, well, it's very self-aware. Episode 3 was extremely self-aware. Mind you, I don't think self-awareness is going to help it in the long run, because after the first 3 episodes, this looks like it's going to be a very typical anime. And we'll talk about typicalness for this anime later, and we'll talk about what that might mean. But the self-awareness in episode 3, where you have characters flat out saying like, you know, isn't this a little bit too petty, or isn't this a little bit too stupid, your revenge? Isn't your revenge too stupid? And then the kid coming in and saying like, why are you saying this now? We're already so far in the game. And then you have at the end how the best friend and the fake rival are talking about like, yeah, this was all a pretty stupid plot. And I'm just thinking like, yeah, okay, I'm really happy. So that's the thing that made Osamake better for me. One is that there was actual manipulation, and two, the acknowledgement of immaturity. You have no idea how much of a difference that made for me. Like episode 3, going into episode 3 before you get to the final 5 minutes, I thought episode 3 was amazing, right? Because episode 3 was doing so much that was good. Shiro was actually talking, she was communicating. I really thought she was not going to reveal who she was. But holy crap moly, thank God she did, man. Because I found that really cute. And then you had... Yeah, you had solid stuff. You had solid plot movements happening. You had things that weren't annoying. But then the last 5 minutes happened, and the last 5 minutes were annoying. Before I get into that part, I just really want to say, I'm happy about what happened in episode 3, and I'm happy that the manipulation things that you could see in episode 1 did come through. And of course, episode 2 was really good for clearing up, or beginning to clear up, some of the problems. So, you know, I kind of disliked this anime because it made me think it was going to be cool with the communication. But of course, the good thing is that the author knows it's pretty. They're leading into how stupid it is. And that does make things better, because it says that there is some self-awareness going on. Now, here is the thing, right? Osamake, rom-com where the childhood friend won't lose. That's a really interesting way to try and tell us that this isn't going to be like a typical harem. But you know what the thing is? You know the interesting thing about that title? That title pretty much encapsulates, most likely, what is going to happen here. And what that is that this entire anime, it's a trick. It's entirely a trick. The trick is, it's trying to tell you like, hey, we're gonna be different. We're gonna do things differently. When you see episode 3, it's like, oh my god, they're actually being relatively mature about this. Like, oh my god, they're actually acknowledging that this is stupid. And you know, it gets you into that point where it makes you feel like, oh yeah, you know, this might be different. But at the end of the day, not really. It's not going to be different. This is going to be like every other, or not. I gotta be careful, right? This is going to be mostly like every other harem rom-com that exists. And that's just going to happen because the person wants to keep the series going. The author wants to have their series going. And the way that you understand this is when you look at that, that title, rom-com where the childhood friend won't lose. How could you have a romance comedy harem if that title is correct? Quite simple. All of them are childhood friends. If you make all of them childhood friends, that statement, the childhood friend won't lose, it actually won't. Like, legitimately, the author has tilted things in their direction. What it ultimately means is that one point of differentiation has just been removed. That's all it is. There's just not really a childhood friend archetype properly in the series anymore. And that's what I really think is going to happen here. It's overall going to become a typical harem. Like, next episode is going to introduce a new girl, which of course it is, because that's how harem rom-coms operate. It's going to introduce a new girl, and I think it's going to become a lot more typical because harem rom-coms really can't sustain their premises for very long. When they're light novels. My example is Osamake. Osamake starts with a premise that the guy is just a background character. But by the end of Osamake, he has 3 girls fawning over him. By the end of Osamake, he is no longer just a background character. Like, heck, he became like a main character by episode 4. And that's the thing with the rom-coms. It's very hard for them to sustain their gimmick after their initial premise arc. After this, I expect to get to just hardcore harem antics of 2 girls fawning over him. Or I guess in this case 3. Now, but that's just how it's gonna go. This is ultimately, I think, especially when you look at the title, an anime that tells you it's gonna be different. It's gonna put on a different gimmick. But by the end of it, it's gonna have the same. It's gonna have the same overtures as other harem rom-coms. Like, personally, I would love it if you have the kid actually get into a relationship with one of the girls, then break up with her, because well, they don't realize it works. If there was something that Domestic Girlfriend did relatively well, it's that, you know, it actually showed some relationships that didn't work, which I can appreciate. There was a lot more fulfillment going on in Domestic Girlfriend, even though that was infuriating, like soap opera level infuriating. That was still something you could expect, I guess, at the beginning, until it became kind of tired. Anyway, moving on, the next thing I wanted to talk about for this series was just how deserved everything was. At the end of the day, like I said, I'm shipping Shiro with the kid, and I do that overall because I feel like Shiro has done the least wrong. Mind you, let's understand the differences here, right? Because at the beginning, Shiro comes into this because she wants to hurt the kid. She wants to get revenge, right? The kid wants to get revenge on her because she was nice to him, and like he thought that he was gonna have a chance with her. And the girl, the other childhood friend, Kuro, her problems really were at episode 2, which could be excused, but then episode 3, where she just decides to say no because she's petty. In my perspective, Shiro has done the least wrong because Shiro came into this as a hurt person. She came into this as a victim. Mind you, she made a bad assumption. Like, she's still, like, her and the kid, honestly, probably they're both guilty of bad assumptions. So they're both, I think they can both be berated to that degree. But the thing is, Shiro makes up for it once she finds out what actually went down. And that's a pretty big thing from Kuro, because Kuro, she is being spiteful because the kid didn't realize he liked her fast enough. Right? So when she is ultimately mad at herself at the end, I'm not gonna lie, I really enjoyed it. I really cheered that on. It's like, yeah, okay, that was pretty stupid of you, but again, we all acknowledge this thing is pretty stupid. The thing with the main character, though, is that and this is where I'm gonna take away points for the episode, this is entirely an execution. I found that moment where he realizes that he loves Kuro to just be so grown worthy. And I know that they were setting this up with showing the girl being physically affectionate with him before, but just having him realize it the moment he did, the way he did, you know, it didn't do it for me. I wasn't into it. It felt like such a big cop-out. It felt like something that happened just to get the surprise out, right? It felt like something that happened just to just to make this thing more complicated and extend the series. Like, honestly, I think this would have been fine as one novel. Have it be one novel and you have a nice little story there. Would it be turned into an anime? Of course not. It would not be turned into an anime. But as a standalone novel, I think it would do really well. I think that was a wonderful little story there, instead of making everything stupid the way they did. At the end of the day, the author chose to go into the stupid route and show people being stupid, which, again, super entertaining. But in terms of the execution on the anime, I didn't like that. I didn't like the reveal. It didn't even feel like that much of a reveal. It felt pretty stupid. That he only realizes that, oh yeah, this girl that he's been very aware of liking him, that he's actually shown that he knows very well, that he only realizes this at the penultimate moment. I think, again, it could have been executed better. I would have enjoyed something else. Kuro was stupid for being petty. Like, that's the big thing about her. She's petty for the stupidest of reasons. Next is the main character, and then finally Shiro is petty because she has some trauma from childhood. It's some misunderstandings from childhood. And I also saw people making fun of the dance sequence. I don't care, whatever. Like, it's tough. Animation is tough. I don't care what they had to do. Like, whatever. And then finally for the two side characters, really, I guess, how could I not love those two, especially at the end when they're talking and they're just talking about their plans here and what they did and why they did it. How could I not respect that, right? Overall, because these people are pretty much telling me, like, hey, we know this is the kind of, they're the ones that tell you what kind of anime this is going to be. We know that these plot points were not the best, but we're here to tell you this is happening because they're teenagers. This is going to be the kind of energy we're going to have. Expect more stupidity. I actually really appreciate them. Did they save the series by themselves by having that little moment at the end and their comments and criticisms? Not necessarily, because the series did really well on episode 1 to show that there was manipulation going on from both sides. But they definitely, I will take them. I would never want them to be removed, because they might be the ones that make the insanity of everything else seem better. But overall, when I come into this, what I am ultimately thinking is this is going to be a typical harem. As much as it doesn't want me to believe it's going to be a typical rom-com harem, it's going to be a typical rom-com harem. The title's a trick. It's just there to make you think it's going to do something different, but at the end of the day, it's not really going to do that many different things. It's going to, at the end of the day, revolve around communication issues. And I guess, like, the big one here is that it's going to revolve more around pettiness, which I'm all in. I'll continue watching. I enjoy being petty myself. But yeah, at the end of the day, I ship Shiro with him. I think I enjoy her much more. One big thing is that Kuro didn't want the guy to act, and acting is what he loves doing. Shiro's the one that pushed him forward. Shiro does, yeah, I think Shiro's a better influence for him. Also, I noticed that the girl's sisters are also involved in that opening and ending, so I can only imagine how much more complicated this is going to get as people start revolving around this one kid. The good thing for this kid, though, is that he was an amazing child actor from what we're being told. It actually kind of makes sense that people like him, because everyone's like, oh my god, he's actually talented, which is a lot more than the typical harem protagonist has. So props for that, legitimately. Props for actually making him worth something. Yeah. Anyway, everyone, thank you so much for watching. I hope you also enjoy this anime if you're watching it. I think it'll be fun. Honestly, when you have an author that is able to lean in on the joke and is able to be self-aware, that does go a long way in making a show nicer, because self-awareness usually implies intelligence. And so if you have an intelligent author, it usually means they're going to respect your time once you buy into the premise. Anyway, guys, stay safe. Till next time, have an absolutely great day.